Hey guys, how are you? I'm so excited to be with you guys tonight. I have, as you can see, changed some things around. And I just wanted to give myself a round of applause. So as you guys are joining me, thank you so much. As always, I know you could be anywhere, but you're choosing to be with me, and I really appreciate it. Today, we're talking about variety selection for your seedling sale, packaging, pricing, and then we're going to open it up to all kinds of Q&A. You guys have been so awesome with our little community that we've built here the last couple of lives. And so today, we're just talking about some of the same things that we have been talking about, because honestly, I don't think that when you're starting a seedling sale, or if you're expanding or doing something different, you can never talk about it enough when you're deciding what to carry, the sizes of packaging to use, what your pricing should be, just all of the nuts and bolts of it. There's so many moving parts that I think the more we talk to each other about this and the more we bounce ideas off of each other, the better. So as we're talking, I want you to drop your zone in the chat if you are comfortable. Let me know what zone you grow in, what state maybe, just so that we kind of have an idea of where everybody's joining from. It is March 6th. We've had a very hot day today. It was 80 degrees Fahrenheit here today. And it's spring and almost feels like summer a little bit. And it was only about 3 weeks ago that we had snow and ice on the ground. So it's weird to be saying that in North Carolina, but here we are. So just let me know what kind of things you grow, what you're looking to grow for your seedling sale. Today, we're going to go over something that I've put together for you, and you can grab it in the description. If you have grabbed any of my free guides in the past, then you know that I usually try to pack a ton of value in all of these lives or the pre-recorded videos. They're both the same for me in terms of value. And so I've put together a checklist for you that has 3 different kinds of popular seedlings that you can plant or for your sale, the seedling types, plant types. And I'm giving you some information about how I've decided through the School of Hard Knocks and experience, how I've decided what to carry and what not to carry in my seedling sale to be successful. So this has been done over the course of years, and I've compiled all of this into a handy checklist. It's several pages long. It tells you what I've done in the past. It also gives you room to do it, to jot down some things for yourself. So just go down in the description now or after. If you guys are live, thank you so much for joining me. And if you are joining after, then you're catching this replay at a great time, no matter when you're listening. And you can also hop down to that link in the description and grab that free checklist. So I'm so excited to have you all here today. And I'm going to give everybody potentially another minute or so, and we can jump right in. Okay, King Bez 85 is calling or joining in from Zone 6 in Connecticut. We've got a Zone 5B, Northern Illinois. Fabulous. We used to live in Southeast Michigan. So even though we're in Zone 8A right now, we are familiar with growing in that climate. So you guys are going to get a lot of value, a ton of value from this, because you are a little bit behind me in terms of the calendar. So you've got more time to act on this than maybe some other folks do. So I grow, just if you're joining me and you're not familiar, I grow on about an acre that is fenced in. We have a deer fence around it, and we have about 3,000 row feet of 2.5 foot wide beds. So that equals close to, it's kind of hard to calculate because the beds are not all joined together. There are a couple different sections of the garden, but it's between 3/4 and an acre. So that is not all in production at any given time. Some of it is resting. We like to rest things about 1/3 of the garden at any time. So we grow flowers and vegetables for sale. A large part of what I'm doing this year is a fundraiser for my daughter. She came to me with an idea about how she could help domestic abuse survivors in our area. And her idea was that she could use some of the things that we grow here at the farm and sell them and make sure that we donate all of our proceeds to benefit our Abuse Prevention Council. So quite a bit of that is what we're doing for the seedling sale specifically. All of those sales are going to go to the Abuse Prevention Council. And also we're going to be at a farmer's market this year. So that's exciting. We also have an online store. So we're growing. We're also, if you're not buying it from me, that's cool. I want to teach you how to garden, because now more than ever, the price value of growing your own food compared to what you can get at the grocery store, homegrown blows it away. It really does. I've done this for 20 years. I've grown my own food, regardless of where we lived, all over the country. I've grown my own food. And it was always a struggle to get people to realize that it was worth it. But it is. And now more than ever, the prices of produce are increasing and higher at the grocery store. So now it's a no-brainer to learn how to grow your own food, if for no other reason, to feel more secure about just where your food comes from in terms of freshness, chemical or lack thereof, the quality, the nutrients that you have, and the fact that you're not having to spend a lot of money on getting to the grocery store and time and all of those things. So let's go ahead. It's 8:06 now. We'll get started. We've kind of waited around a little bit just to let folks come in, but if you haven't already, grab your checklist. It's down in the description. This is our 5th episode of our seedling sale series, and this series is geared toward folks who want to take their ability to make money from their garden a step further. You can grow things, you know how to grow vegetable plants, and you want to make money off of it. There's nothing wrong with that. Money is necessary in this day and age, and you can make some good money in your local community growing things that are suited to your climate, to your neighbors. So that's what I'm showing you how to do here. We're talking through all of the gritty nuts and bolts of it at today's live. Today's live is the variety selection, packaging, pricing, and then we're going to open it up to a Q&A. So honestly, let's get into it. I got a few slides here that we'll take a look at and get right to that. Let's take that off. We'll grab that. Here we go. Look at us. Look at us go. Do we have any comments here? Any additional ones? We're good to go here in the chat. That's awesome. So like I said before, your 25 plus best seedlings checklist are in the pinned comment below, or in the description, I should say. So around the first time that I had a seedling sale, I grew a ton of this tomato. This tomato here is called Paul Robeson. There might be a glare there. It is delicious. It's dark, smoky flavor. It's amazing. Love it so much. I grew a bunch of these because I thought, oh, they're going to fly off the table. And they didn't. I sold maybe 5 of the 40 or 50 that I had. And what people wanted instead were this beefsteak. I had beefsteak, and thank goodness I grew some beefsteak and some early girl here. These are from seeds and such. But much to my surprise, people didn't want to buy the plants that I thought they should buy, because they didn't know what a Cherokee purple was. That was a few years ago. More and more people know what those tomatoes are, but you still have folks who want to buy what they know. And so more than anything, you want to be conservative. You want to be safe about what you're growing for your seedling sale. And that's the whole point here of what we're going to cover with this checklist. For my new viewers, I'm Michelle from Growing the Good Life. I want to say that to you right now. I run the Growing the Good Life farm stand. We talked a little bit about this before. I grow flowers and vegetables for sale. We are doing this fundraiser, this seedling sale, as a fundraiser. You might be doing your seedling sale for any number of reasons. You can put extra money in your pocket for vacation. You can have, maybe you're supporting a charity that you love, but we are all working together here and learning from each other as we have our own seedling sales this spring. If you're joining me live, this is for the spring. If you are catching this replay at a later time, then you're listening to it at the right time, because you can plan with your seedling checklist. You'll have a future seedling sale that'll be awesome. So I've tracked every single plant that I've sold, and I'm going to tell you guys which varieties flew off the table for me and which ones did not go anywhere, the type of plant specifically, which ones moved and which ones didn't. overall, I would say that in your area, that's the most important thing to think about is how people, what your buyer's behavior is where you are. But let me give you the money list. The money list is a group of this top 10 vegetables that you really need to make sure you have on your table in some way. Now, you can grow them in 3 to 4 inch pots. You can grow them in 6-packs, but you want to make sure to have these. Tomatoes. Now, I want you to focus on slicing tomatoes and cherry tomatoes. If you're not sure, if you've got your own plan, go for it. But if you're not sure what to do, I would advise you to go heavy on your slicers, heavy on your cherries, a few heirlooms that you like. If you've gotten wind that your customer base likes it, you want to go safe with your tomatoes. Honestly, folks love a good big red slicer. The big red slicer, honestly, that I love the most, I'm going to do 2. The first one is going to be an early girl. The reason I plant the early girl is because they're early. They have a very short days to maturity. And I mean, sometimes, oh gosh, what are these days to maturity? Sometimes it could be around 60 days, give or take. I will start with these, but I'll also carry beefsteak. Beefsteak are hands down the biggest, best tasting slicers. They're reliable for me. Some people have issues with them in the humidity because they are not a hybrid. There's always that quintessential question and balance for tomatoes between the flavor of a open pollinated or heirloom versus the productivity and the disease resistance of a hybrid. So you want the hybrid that has everything, right? You want it to have a lot of fruit, be resistant to fungus and wilt. You want it to be tasty, and you don't want the skin to be too thick, and you want it to last a long time, but not too much. There's so many things that you want from a tomato, and there's always that balancing act. You can get a tomato that has a beautiful skin that is resistant to cracking and lasts a while on the counter, but it tastes like garbage. And we all have faced that in the past about when it comes to supermarket tomatoes. That's why a lot of us grow our own. Tomatoes are the gateway drug when it comes to gardens, and they are the vegetable that most people grow. It's the most fun to grow. It's the vegetable that gives you the most bragging rights. And so it's that balance. And so for me, just a good old beefsteak is the kind of tomato that you want to put on your sandwich. It doesn't take too long to grow. It's a nice big red slicer. For your cherry tomatoes, you have some options here. You can grow, there are 3 I like. I like a black cherry. I like the super sweet 100s and sun gold. These are all fast maturing varieties and they taste delicious. The black cherry is an open pollinated. The super sweet 100 and the sun gold are both hybrids. So those seeds are going to be a little bit more expensive. So when you start your seedling sale, you're going to notice when you start to price your seedlings, your seedlings that the seedlings that are hybrids are going to be a fair amount more expensive for you. So you're going to want to price your plants accordingly. Now, are you going to price hybrids more expensive than your heirlooms? Maybe that's what you choose to do, or maybe you choose to pick one price across both of them that makes sure you have a profit. Those are the tomatoes that I will grow. I will also grow a few Cherokee Purple. The 80-20 rule will always apply, but what I think about tomatoes is less is more. If you're growing the plants and then you're also selling the fruit later on, you can give away some tomatoes. You can have a tasting, like let's say that you're at a farmer's market. You can cut up some samples and let people taste them to expose them to different ones that they've not had before. But when it comes to plants that you're selling, you want to go tried and true. I'm going early girl, beefsteak, black cherry, sun gold, and sweet 100. Those are 5. That's enough complexity for me. Throw in a few Cherokee Purple and some Paul Robeson, and I'm good to go. That's all I would need. We're also, next after tomatoes is peppers. Peppers are very, very popular as well. for your peppers, you're going to want to go with bell pepper first, like a California Wonder, then a jalapeno. Those are really the two big ones. You might throw in a cayenne plant as well, maybe a few of those. Again, you might want to 80-20 that sucker and only grow a few. But if I had to pick what will sell, it would be the nice big bell pepper, which would be your California Wonder. Those are inexpensive seeds. You're going to be able to price your seedlings the right way for a profit for yourself. You don't need to get into these crazy hybrids that get really expensive. Now, if you're growing to feed people, I do grow those fancy hybrids because I need production from my garden. My garden is in a deer fence, and that deer fence is precious commodity. It's precious space inside there. And so if I've got it in there, I want to make sure I've got a variety that is resistant to fungal infection or fusarium wilt. And I want to make sure that there's high productivity and it's got a good flavor. So if I'm growing to sell the food, I'm going to pick some hybrids. But for you, you're growing seedlings to sell and you want to make a nice margin. You want to give your clients a good product, your customers a good product. You're going to go with a California Wonder. Then you're going to pick a jalapeno. You can go with, there's a Jedi jalapeno from Johnny's that I like. Any of your basic open pollinated jalapenos will be good. You could also go for a habanero if you want for your other spicy. You could choose cayenne or habanero. I wouldn't, again, you don't want to go too deep into the quantity with those. You might just want to have a few 6-packs and leave it at that just for your novelty. Next, the number 3 vegetable you need to include are your cucumbers. You want to include both slicing and pickling varieties. And the reason is, I have younger kids, right? I've had young kids recently, and they like those little snacking cucumbers. And those are your mini munchers and your snacking cucumbers like that. Those are fancy. Those are new. But if you are growing, especially if you're in a more rural area, people can, or they do can their own pickles, and they need a good pickling cucumber for sure. That is something that I have been caught without and wished that I had. And so a good plain, slicing cucumber and a pickling cucumber are 2 types of cucumber that you're going to want to have, because a lot of people will want to can their own pickles, or at least try to. I'm going to be doing that myself. So you're going to want to do that. You'll want to have those varieties. Now, some cucumbers allow you to have a slice. They're a slicing and a pickling cucumber. I don't have the experience with that to be comfortable selling that. If you do, go ahead. What I'm saying is, if you have a variety that can be both slicing and pickling, if you're not sure, it's like the Head and Shoulders, like 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It does both, but does it do both really well? Probably not. So I would get a delicious slicer that you like, a delicious pickler that you like. A Chicago pickling is a good variety. There's a variety called homemade pickles, I think, and Botanical Interest has it. It is the pickle. There's a pickle that was created for Mount Olive pickles specifically, and I think it's called homemade pickles. Just go to Botanical Interests and look up cucumbers. I bought a couple packs of those. Our younger daughter loves pickles. She could eat a jar of pickles a week, and I did tell her that I was going to try to can 50 quart jars of pickles, and I've already got my seeds picked out for that, so we'll see. But at any rate, 2 types of cucumbers there. We're taking a look at the chat. We're all good. If you guys are joining, or as soon as you join in, let me know what zone you're in. If you feel so inclined, we're talking variety selection, packaging, pricing, and then we'll open it up for Q&A after. If you have a question now, drop it in the chat, and when I'm able to get to it, I will. But if I don't get to it as soon as you've dropped it in, just know that I will get to it. So let's move right along. Squash and zucchini. People love squash and zucchini. It's one of those things where you plant squash and zucchini, and then when you start having squash and zucchini coming out your ears and you cannot give it away, then you're like, why did I do that? It's an easy win for a lot of people. So that's why they grow it. And so you're always going to want to have someone who wants yellow squash. So I'm going to say, go for, again, an open pollinated a straight neck squash, crook neck squash, and then you'll do a green zucchini. I like the green machine zucchini is a great variety to choose. Mean it's not necessarily an heirloom, but when I say open pollinated, it is something that you can save seeds from. So you'll be able to get those seeds pretty cheaply. They're more inexpensive than hybrids. A hybrid cucumber or hybrid squash, in this case, that seed, sometimes if you have a very disease resistant, high performing, tasty variety, those seeds can be 50 cents a piece. You don't have any way, there's no way for you to make money really on a seedling if you are selling if you're buying it for 50 cents a seed, and then you've got the soil, and then you've got your container, you've got your time and effort, marketing and all of that. In comparison, if you have a seed that is an open pollinated variety, you're looking at maybe 5 cents a seed, maybe 10 cents, maybe less, depending on how much you buy. So that's why I'm always saying open pollinated. I want you to know that's why. Again, if you're growing for your own consumption or you want to maximize your harvest, look at some hybrids, but you'll pay for them. All right, let's move right along. Number 5, herbs. So we're going to move into herbs for their own section in a minute, but basil, man, if you just had all kinds of basil, cinnamon, opal, Thai, sweet, regular, your Italian Genovese basil. Honestly, just basil plants are so versatile. People love them. You can use basil in cut flower bouquets as a filler and as a filler flower foliage. You can do anything with it. There's a lemon basil. There's all kinds. So herbs are a great thing to include. People love to grow them. They love to buy them at the store, and they are notorious for going bad when you buy them. We've all been there. You go to the store, you're going to eat healthy. You're going to get all that stuff yourself. You're going to grow all your own, or you're going to cook all your own food at your house. You've made a New Year's resolution. You've got to save money, whatever it is. You buy a bunch of herbs. 3 days later, in your meal planning, you're pulling things out to make them, and your dill is slimy or your chives are slimy. It happens because they're not packaged to last that long. They've probably already been in transit for a couple weeks anyway. And so when you have herb plants to share with your customers, they love it, especially a lot of those easier to grow ones. So we're going to cover that. But herbs can be very high dollar, high value crop for you or plant for you to grow. And so that I would always include that. Lettuces and greens. Your leaf lettuce mixes are really great. Like think a salad bowl type of leaf lettuce. You're just going to get an open container and spread all those seeds out, cover them with maybe an 1/8 to 1/4 inch of soil, water them in. They're going to grow and they're going to look like this luscious, awesome carpet that you can just cut and eat and put in salads. And when you talk about the cut and come again method of growing or of harvesting, you show your customers how to maximize those plants. So let's say you sell a 6-pack. Hold on, let me get a 6-pack. A seedling 6-pack. Let's say that you sell this 6-pack here full of lettuce mix, but you show them at the table how to harvest just the outer leaves of each plant. And then therefore you're letting the inner leaves continue to grow. And so for my family, for example, we eat off of this lettuce this way all winter long, all year long. I will grow 30 lettuce plants. That's our sweet spot. I'll grow 30 plants. And then every day that we want a salad for dinner, I will go out and I will harvest 2 or 3 of the outer leaves from each head. That gives me about 60 to 90 leaves. For my family, that's a great size salad that will give us what we want. And then in another couple of days, there are more leaves to harvest, as long as you continue to pull those from the outer leaves. And so that's a great educational moment you can share with your customers. And it's a really, really inexpensive seed for you. Your profit margins are high on those. A lot of times I've seen people do like just a big bowl, just a very large container, and just call it a salad bowl and sell it for $15. And the value is there for them, right? So when we talk about marketing, that's another thing you can do. The cut and come again lettuce mixes are great. The other greens like kale, baby kale for smoothies, Swiss chard. Again, for these things, you really want to make sure you remember and that you let your customers know the food that you grow, the way that it tastes is so much better than the stuff you get from the store. So I have people say, oh, I don't like Swiss chard. You know what? I don't like Swiss chard from the grocery store either. It looks sad. It's wilted. It's impossible to keep it looking good. But now Swiss chard, you walk outside and pick off of your plants yourself, and then you eat it immediately in a salad. It tastes like it's a completely different beast, and it's a tasty one. And I would try it and let your customers know that you've tried it and that it's super different from what they get at the grocery store. And that's the case for anything that you grow on your own. Even the simple onion, even a simple, potato, homegrown is still better. So you're going to give your customers an example and a chance to really understand that when you sell them and you educate them about that. And so again, kale, Swiss chard, it's so sweet. If you plant it in the fall and you let it it freezes, the starches attempt to turn into sugar so that the plant won't freeze, like in its attempt to keep its temperature above freezing. And so those those starches to sugars are what makes those things sweeter in the fall and winter. And you get to capitalize on that. And it's amazing. And that can't happen from your grocery store produce. It doesn't. So I could talk about that all day. Next, green beans. So we're talking bush beans for beginners. It's probably the easiest way to go. You can plant the same 6-pack or maybe a little bit bigger. You could put 1 or 2 seeds in each cell. You can plant, you could sell 8 to 12 bean plants for $3-4 and still make a nice profit for yourself and give your customers something that will give them a lot of value and a lot of quantity. Typically from a standard bush bean plant, I can get about a half pound through the season. That plant will last me about a month. Once it starts to produce enough to harvest, it will last for 3 to 4 weeks before it will peter out. And so during that time, I get about a half pound per plant. And I like, again, open pollinated varieties. We like the Maxi Bell filet bush bean. So good, so sweet. So there's no string in that bean. It is so good. It's a very, very thin bean. We like that one. We like the dragon tongue bean. The provider bush bean is also very tasty and a very high producer, very prolific. So those are things that you can make a lot of money with for your clients and your customers. And you can tell them a lot about each plant, what they can expect in terms of yield, how many pounds of beans they can take from those plants. If you put 2 beans in each of these cells, and that's 12 plants. The beans will probably cost you 10 cents or less. You've got 12 plants. I said I can get a half a pound from each. That's 6 pounds of green beans fresh for, I don't know, whatever it is you want to charge for that. That's what their price is. That's what you're comparing it to. Plus it's fresh. Plus it tastes good. Plus they're not having to go to the store for it. Plus it's not going bad in their refrigerator because green beans can go bad fast if you put them in their fridge. So many selling points here. Strawberries. If you have strawberry plants, you certainly can sell strawberry plants. I think with strawberry plants, though, you may have to look into nursery requirements. I believe we have to do that here, so that's why I don't sell strawberry plants like from runners or whatever. But yeah, if you've got strawberries that you're interested in, people go crazy for that. They love to grow them. They love to buy them as a fruit. Kale and Swiss chard, we covered that before. Lastly, okra. This is zone specific. And so this is something that is probably, if it's not something that would work for you, you could find something and put in its place that does work for you. Everybody has their own, everybody's zone has its own idiosyncrasies, or certain things work for you that won't work for someone else. So okra, a good old Clemson spineless. I carry one variety when I do, and people love it. They buy it, they grow it. Of course, okra is something that you can easily direct sow, but there's something about walking by a table of plants that have already been grown for you. As a beginner or as a home gardener, it just makes it really, really attractive to just walk by, grab a whole container or whole tray of plants, and you're covered. Somebody else started them for you. You can trust the person who started them, and that's awesome. That's what you're giving them. So if you notice, I want you to notice what's not on this list. There is no kohlrabi. There are no ground cherries. There's no purple tomatillos. Okay, you can grow those yourself, and you can maybe add a couple of those onto your table. But just because it looks cool in a magazine doesn't mean your folks are going to buy them. So, I honestly thought when I would look at my tabulation or would tabulate the things that grew well for me, I thought for sure heirloom tomatoes would be a big seller in terms of plants, and it just wasn't. People don't buy a lot of them. Now they buy them when I have the fruit, but not the plant. So that surprised me. Now, herbs. Here are your big 5 for herbs. We just got through talking about our vegetables. Now we're going to switch gears and talk about herbs. These are your big 5, okay? You can really go too far with herbs. Like I said, they're very, very, they make a lot of profit for you, but don't go too far, all right? So basil, rosemary, mint in separate containers because mint will take over. So you don't want to put that you want to give people the ability to have that separate. Parsley, I like a good Italian flat leaf parsley, but you could also do a curly parsley if you folks want it. Cilantro is one of those. I would carry a couple pots or a couple 6-packs. People who love it. Other people say it tastes like soap. So some other bonus sellers in the herb department are dill, thyme, chives, and lavender. And I do, for all of these except mint, I carry these in 6-packs. So I will do 6-packs for $5, and I will have at least 1 or 2 plants. I don't thin them out. So if I plant 3 seeds in each of these and they all have room to grow, I make sure my customer has those because it's no problem for me, and they've got a great value. If you buy a $5 6-pack and you've got 12 basil plants, you're sitting pretty, you're happy, and your customers are happy. They're going to come back and buy more from you, and your seeds aren't that expensive. So rosemary, surprisingly easy to grow. I know it is a woody herb and it kind of feels like it would be difficult to grow. It's not. Neither is sage. Sage is pretty easy to grow as well. Also, with these woody plants, you can take cuttings and root them and have an unlimited number of free plants for yourself to sell. So those are things you can also tell your customers. Hey, here's a rosemary plant, 6 of them for $5. But if you want to cut them and root them, have at it. You'll have tons. And they love that because chances are good that some of those plants are going to die. And when they want to replace them, they're going to come to you. The mint, you can do a spearmint, a peppermint. Oh my gosh, mountain mint is a fun one. I'm carrying mountain mint this year for cut flowers and pollinators. And as a tea, as an herbal tea, I'm going to have my customers try that out. So mountain mint is going to pull a lot of different duty for me. It's going to do a lot of different things for me. So I'm excited about that. Parsley, like I said, flat leaf, curly. All of these are all open pollinated seeds, pretty inexpensive, and they grow well. So no problem there with these guys. Like I said, just the only thing to think about is that your mint is going to take over. What I do for mint is I will put it in a big 4-inch pot. So I will grow the mint plant pretty big, and I'll just grow one big mint plant for like $4 or whatever it is. I don't do a 6-pack of mint. Number one, because you don't need it. It spreads like crazy, or like it gets bigger really fast. And if you give somebody 6 individual plants, they're just going to put them all together anyway, because otherwise they'll spread like crazy. So 1 pot for that is good. Again, as you're selling, as your plants get bigger, if you have to pot them up, if they get root bound, you put them in a bigger pot and you can sell them for more money if that feels right to you in terms of what you've got invested. Last, let's take a look. Last, in terms of your large category, Your strong sellers when it comes to flowers, okay? You maybe haven't thought about selling flowers. A lot of people who want to grow a food garden are also interested in growing flowers, and you need pollinators to pollinate your vegetable garden in most cases. My favorites here, open pollinated all the way, zinnias, sunflowers, marigolds. Petunias can be easier to grow. It just depends if you can get seed. Those can be. A lot of people love petunias and hanging baskets. Impatiens for your shade lovers. Dahlias, either from tuber, seed, or cutting. Snapdragons and cosmos. Now, if you're wondering what to charge and you're wondering how to tabulate your costs, I have created, just go to my stand store. There are seedling worksheets. There's a seedling costing or profit spreadsheet. Download that. It has all of those categories for you so that you can include what you want to price your seedling at, and then you can tell it what everything cost, and you can start to play with the numbers, and you can say, okay, if it costs $1.50 total to grow this seedling, and I want to sell it at X dollar, how much profit can I make? And then, so this spreadsheet is formatted for you. You don't have to do any of that formatting, and you can just play with numbers and plug and play. So these are all options for you. All you have to do is look for these seeds. Again, Botanical Interests is a good place for that. For these flower seeds, a place like Seeds and Such is good for tomato and peppers in bulk quantities that are cost effective. And just plug it into that free spreadsheet. Just go to my stand store. If you click any link to any of my free product or free downloads, you will see the list of all the downloads. So you can just go and see which ones you want to get there. So we've talked about all of that. You want to include your flowers because all of your pollinators love them, and you need pollinators for vegetables too. So let's see here. Let's move right along. We're making good time, guys. And I've only got a few more minutes or a few more slides, and we can open it up for questions. So I want to just kind of briefly touch on the 4 tenets of consumer psychology or sales psychology. Why do people buy what they buy? Recognition wins. If they know you and if they know the variety, they're more likely to buy it. If they don't, if they're iffy on either of those, not going to buy it, right? So they need to recognize you and the variety. Confidence sells. If your plants look good, you know what you're talking about when you talk to them about it. You gear your conversation toward beginners. They're going to be more confident and more likely to buy. Your visual proof matters. Okay. So those seedlings need to look great. It needs to look pleasing and like something that looks professional, right? And then your price anchoring works as well. So anytime you can give people a couple of different options, if you have a large tomato plant that has a higher price, put it next to the table with smaller seedlings that have a lower price tag, and suddenly those lower price products seem more reasonable just because they're making a choice. Because you've put 2 things in front of them that are a different size, their brain thinks, oh, I've got to make a choice. Right? They don't have to, but that's the way it looks, and that's how their brain interprets it. So if you say, I've got this big one, or you could have these smaller ones, they're not that much smaller, but they are a less expensive price point, they're more likely to buy those, right? So you only have to have one big guy to anchor the pricing for all these others. So that's something to think about too. All right, moving right along. Now notice we did say that here's our psychology. We're talking about the 80-20 rule. You want to do your tried and true varieties 80% of the time. Okay. But 20% you do want to go unique. You want to go with things like, I don't know, lemongrass or artichokes, or hop on Facebook Marketplace, like I said, and take a look to see what kind of unique things people are providing and what they're growing. And just think about what you like. What do you like to eat? What do you like to grow? What do you wish big box stores had that they didn't have? And when you see those, that's a good indication that you should go ahead and grow a few. So what I'm doing this year, let me look at this. Yes. So you can do a themed collection. All right. You can put several plants together and then have people buy a collection. So a lot of my packaging for what I'm doing came today. And this is from Greenhouse Megastore. We talked about this, I think, at our last live or the one before. This is a 1020 tray. There is a 1020 pot holder in the middle. And then there are 32 2.5-inch pots. Okay, that is the size of seedling that I'm selling this year, plus a 6-pack when necessary. But there are 32 plants in this tray, and we're going to work on some themed collections. I want you to think about some themed collections for yourself and for your sales. Think about a salsa garden, 2 tomato plants, 2 pepper plants, cilantro, onions, and scallions. You could do a pizza garden and call it that. Tomato, basil, oregano, bell pepper. You can do something called the beginner's box. Maybe it's 5 impossible to kill plants with a care card included. Tea garden. Tea is having such a renaissance or a comeback. Like, tea is so popular in my household, and other households. I don't know if it's like, is it Bridgerton? I don't know what it is. It's like, but the London fog. Our kids love London fogs. I'm like, where did you come up with this? I guess I'm not that cultured, perhaps. Maybe I'm just still stuck on coffee. But tea is huge. So make a tea garden and just include plants for a tea garden. So what themed collections do is they solve that decision fatigue. So instead of having to pick out every little thing that they want, you've already decided that for them. And so they can just pick it up and go. And so my collections this year, I'm going to do actually, I've duplicated my slide here, but what I'm going to tell you about are my 3 collections I have this year. One is my kitchen garden collection, and it's going to include, it's going to fill this. It's going to be 32 plants. We're going to do something like 5 tomatoes, 4 peppers. We'll do some bush beans, some scallions. We'll probably do 4 or 5 herbs. Then we're going to do, what else are we going to do? It's basically everything that is that would constitute a garden, that your vegetable garden. So it would be 32 plants. That would be, squash, cucumbers, lettuce, a few herbs, but just whatever you would need to have a vegetable garden. That way, my customers don't have to have the fatigue of wondering, what to plant. So that's the kitchen garden one. The next is the herb haven. The herb is going to be for your serious folks who are serious about cooking. French tarragon, French thyme, lots of different varieties of basil. We'll do oregano, rosemary, dill, lots and lots of those, some lemon balm, and then things that people can make tea with. And then we're going to have a pollinator paradise, which will include lots of different flowers, really, that you can cut. So some of the flowers are going to be those that will attract hummingbirds. I think people really enjoy that. And so all of those are going to be themed collections, and we'll have, I'm not sure exactly where we'll price it. It'll probably be priced around $50 to $60 for this tray, which I think is a screaming deal. And then we'll probably do a half collection as well. Our folks will be able to buy, they'll be able to buy individual plants also, but they're not, they don't have to buy a collection. But if they wanted to, collections for gifts and things like that, then we absolutely will carry those. And I think that's a great, it's a great way to do it. I think that I'm excited about it. I think that a lot of people are growing their own gardens these days. And I think they are excited to grow and they're not sure what to grow. And when you can position yourself as the expert, I think that you really have a lot to offer folks, and they really look to you for your expertise. Yeah, it's just it's a super thing to be able to do. Let me show you guys. That's all I have for my notes that I wanted to share with you today. And as we're waiting for comments or questions to come in, I took a little video today because we had talked about what my plants looked like last week. And here's what they look like this week. Those were my specialty peppers I told you about. And these are some sunflowers that I'm growing. It's a 128 cell tray. Those are 200 tomatoes. Those are my tried and true varieties, plus some of my special ones that I'm growing. Again, you see beefsteak. I've got Mountain Magic. I've got the Sweet 100s, the Sun Golds. Some of those seeds are a little higher price. I buy those in bulk because I don't like to jack up the price on my customers, even though those are hybrid seeds. Lysianthus is a flower. They're really hard to grow. So those are my little Lysianthus babies there. You can see the germination's not great. These are dahlia from seed. That's called the black. That's the Black Forest Ruby, and that is my daughter's name. So had to grow that. We've got, I think that's eggplant there. There's a lot of eggplant in there and some scallions, I believe. So that's that row. These are stock. These are more flowers. This is a single stemmed flower. Smell amazing, look great for bouquets. I probably will include some of those in my flower collection. These are Gomphrena, which is a globe thistle. And these are tons of different varieties. You can see they're popping right up. They're super excited about it. And those are fabulous. These are outside. I started these these are direct sown campanula. They were started under grow lights, but I'm about ready to put them outside and see what they can do. And some spotty germination. These are my snapdragons. You guys saw those last week and the week before that. These are outside hardening off. They have been snipped or pinched, I should say. And you can see there are two little stems for most of them. Some of these cells, this is a 72 cell tray. Some of these cells have 2 or 3 plants in them, and I just don't care. I don't. I know you're supposed to make sure they all have room. And let me tell you something. It doesn't matter. These are going to be grown for cut flowers. I'm not growing these for customers. And so if I do include some for customers, it'll be big ones, right? I know how to grow the little guys and make them flourish. So I cram in as much as I can get, as you can see here. These are my cold weather veggies, several different kinds of cabbage we've got here. That's broccoli on the left. I've got about 75 broccoli plants and cabbages for storage, fresh eating, spinach. This is my winter sown eucalyptus and Dusty Miller. Look at these little babies. They were winter sown on January 14th, and that's how long it's taking for this stuff to grow. These babies are tiny, but they're amazing. Different eucalyptus. There's baby blue, silver plate, silver dollar, and those are Dusty Miller. They don't look dusty yet, but they will soon. Very soon. Lots of little guys. I'm showing you the scale. Look at how teeny tiny they are. And I'm going to let those get bigger and bigger. And then I'm going to put them out, separate them. These are my overwintered yarrow, campanula. There's some foxglove in there, some orlea, and ranunculus, anemone, just lots of flowers. Most of this is for my daughter's cut flower fundraiser. More yarrow, some spinach here in this closest wall. These are winter sown delphinium and larkspur. These little guys are great. Lots and lots of plants. I'm just pop them in there, see what happens. I had no idea what would happen with these. These are the first time I've ever winter sown these, and they worked really, really well. Was super excited about that. So yeah. And then what are these? This is some straw flower. This is more eucalyptus. What are some of the other guys? I don't know if I'm going to show you that or not. I've got some Sweet Annie in one of the containers. Now straw flowers are a warm weather crop. So I did have to bring them in because I was afraid they would freeze one night. So otherwise they've been outside since January 14th, just hanging out, minding their own business. And there we have it. These are my green stalks on the back porch. They had bare root strawberries in them, and they died, of course, because I should not have put them in there because they froze. And so these are Cipollini onions sets from Dixondale that I put in there instead, and they are doing just fine. They've been in there for a few weeks, and they're happy. It's about time to start hitting them with nitrogen. I'll do that until they start to bulb, and then I'll quit. And then they'll start getting bigger because of the P and K that I've put in the soil already. And that's a picture of an anemone from the garden from just the other day. More dahlia seeds, more dahlia, it says sunflower, but it's not sunflower. Those are dahlia from seed. Let's see, what else have we got? I think that's the end. So that was my little montage of everything I've got growing in the garden. All these plants are going on right now, and they are what I've got going. So instead of being able to show you guys this in real time behind me, I've got a bunch of seedlings, but I couldn't focus on that for you today. Otherwise, I would have. So my way to work around that was to give you a little montage. So that, guys, that is what I had to speak to you guys about in terms of pricing. We're going to do 6-packs. We're going to do 4-inch pots. I don't do $2 plants. What I do for pricing is I take the cost, I double that cost, and then I times it by 3, and that's my sales price. I want to make sure that I have a good buffer. So let's say it cost me, all of my inputs are 50 cents. Then I'm going to sell that for $3 because I need to make sure that I'm covering everything that I've purchased as an input. And then I have covered everything in terms of tax and business expenses, just the cost of existing as a business, marketing, all of those things. So that's exactly, how I would calculate that. So I'm excited about this sale. Our sale is going to be mid-May. Some of you folks are further north than we are. So you've got a little bit more time to think about it. My last frost date is April 5th, between April 5th and 12th. Though if we hit the end of March without any frost, then I consider that we're pretty much good to go. So you guys probably have you'll be maybe into May before your last frost hits. And in that case, you've got a lot of time to buy things. Packaging, things like this, just so you know, just so you can kind of do your own calculation. These are 32 plants, or 32 2.5-inch pots, right? They're square. I like the square ones because they just fit. They fit better. So they're fine. They're not the most sturdy, but they cost out to about between 6 and 8 cents a piece. So not bad. There's 32 here. That's about $2.50 or so for those. Then you have the middle part here, the middle holder that holds all of those in place. That's about 20, 30 cents. And then this bottom 10, 20 tray is around $1. So I'm able to take a collection of seedlings that I would sell for between $50 and $60 total, and not spend a ton of money on these. So that's a great thing. May 3rd. Okay, yes. So May 3rd is your last frost date. So you're about a month behind, or mine's a little bit around a month before yours, or maybe 3.5 weeks. So you do have some good time to think about things. I like Greenhouse Megastore for things like this packaging. We talked about before, if you want to start seeds in the container that you sell them in, instead of solo cups, like I know why people use red solo cups. I'll say this again. If you want to use solo cups, maybe consider something smaller like this. That way your tomatoes and peppers specifically, the soil will warm up faster for them, and they will germinate more evenly and more dependably, and you won't use so much soil. The solo cup is very attractive because it's cheap. But what happens is you have to fill it with a ton of potting mix. And in that case, your potting mix will stay cold for a really long time, and tomatoes and peppers love the heat. And so what I have found to be a good fix for this is to use a mouthwash cup, right? So if you're going to use a Dixie cup, use one of these little guys, and you'll be better for it. And then if you need to pot up, you can pot up into something bigger. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. As always, I'm here. We'll probably do another live. I just like to, I'll probably be potting up. You saw the peppers at the beginning of the montage, and they are ready to, those peppers at that in that montage are ready to pot up. I did let you know before last week, I would use a 50 cell seedling tray, and I put multiple peppers in each cell, and these babies are ready to come out, and I don't want to jeopardize them. April 17th, last frost. Okay. All right. Yes, Dave, so yours is coming up. Yours is coming up. So you're chomping at the bit to get those plants started and in the ground. Man, I'm excited about this season. I can't explain it. I'm really, really jazzed about growing food and teaching people how to grow food and then selling food. It's just, I'm feeling really good about the one-on-one conversations, the one-to-many, this community that we have here. Farmers market requires liability insurance. Does mine? It does not. It does not require liability insurance. All ours requires is a number for our state Department of Revenue, just to prove that we have, filed, or that we have an account with them. Here's what I have found. Liability insurance. Some folks have just added on, like they had a company called like State Farm for something like that, just to add on to their policy, and they said it was like $500 a year total. But as far as farmers market specific, I don't use, and that is not off topic at all. This is anything having to do with selling seedlings is on topic. So yeah, I would check with your regular insurance company and just kind of start checking around there. Your extension office is also a really good place to go to when with questions like this. I was doing some conversation. I did a legal video several videos back, and you can still hop over to the channel or stay on the channel and find that video. But I was talking about insurance, like liability insurance for people coming to your house, and like, it does an umbrella policy cover it? Do you need a whole other policy? And so really it's all about what type of risk you're willing to assume, and just talking to your insurance company to find out how they would best, how they would require or recommend that you do it. But ours does not. Our farmers market just requires, if you have a kitchen and you're selling food that you've made in your kitchen, you have to have that kitchen inspected. You can't have any animals in your kitchen, in your house at all. So if you have animals in the state of North Carolina in your house, then you have to cook either in a shared commercial kitchen space, or you have your own building that gets certified in the same manner. But so no, I do not have to, but I hope you find out the answer. And I hope if anybody sees this question, that they can answer it for you, and they can hop in the comments and do that, because that's exciting. Yeah, I'm excited about our farmers market. It starts the end of April, and it starts around Earth Day. So I'm super jazzed about that. I think it's going to be a good opportunity to connect with our community and really have great conversations about food and just giving back to your community, whether any way that it is. So I love lately this conversation about having a skill and being able to monetize it. I heard someone call it an analog skill, like not a digital skill, like analog, like sewing or welding or being a mechanic or a, carpenter or construction or gardening, agriculture, like something that you can do that produces an actual product that people use and consume. I love that. I love being able to help people learn analog skills. And I think that we're all going to be better for it in this community that we have here, the community that each of you are going to go out into your community and build one yourself. You're going to have these conversations with people. And I just think like it's what I was put here to do. And I'm glad you guys are here with me to do this. So it's 8:59. As always, I know you guys could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here with me. And I do really, really appreciate it. I'm super jazzed about it. And that's all I had to talk about for this live. We will be back the next week. And let me know. I'll probably be posting some community posts asking you what topics you'd like to talk about after we finish our seedling sale conversation. So let me know then what you would like to cover, and we'll do that. So thanks a lot. It's 9:00. It's Friday night. Thanks for hanging out with me. I will see you later. Bye for now.